Well, let's get more now on our top story. The British father who's appealed to his son to leave the militant group ISIS, who are fighting in Iraq, and come home. Well, joining us now from central London is the Imam Ajmal Masroor, who's a member of the Muslim Council of Britain. How concerned are you about these videos, these men using their religion, your religion, as an excuse to kill?
They are absolutely wrong. It's abhorrent behaviour and we have to condemn it categorically. We need to be very tough on extremism, and we need to become even tougher on the causes of extremism. We need to come together, create a collective conscience and a narrative where there is no room for such people. But at the same time, we also need to make sure our government isn't siding with dictators and despots in the world. Our silence in Syria, our silence in Iraq, destabilization of the entire region has caused this unfortunate development, and we need to do something about it. We need to end the unethical foreign policies that our government have been pursuing.
Can you understand the appeal to young British Muslims to go out there and fight?
I can understand their grievances, and I think everyone with grievances don't have any justification to pick up guns and therefore go out there to fight and wage a war. But at the same time, we also need to understand that 200,000 people in Syria have been killed, and we've done very little to stop that. Iraq has been destabilized because of Mr. Blair's foreign adventure, illegal Iraq war. So while we condemn these young people categorically for what they're doing, we condemn ISIS for their violence and brutality, and we call on young Muslims not to go there. We also need to tell our government to behave well and start behaving ethically when it comes to foreign policy, and not side the dictators and despots, as well as support democracy and freedom for people all across the globe.
Who do you think is responsible for radicalising these young men?
I think we are all responsible for it. If we had done something about what's happening in Syria, if we had not invaded Iraq war, if we had not sent those drones to kill innocent people in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in Yemen, if we had not done all of those things, also other long-term grievances such as Palestine has been occupied for a long time, Palestinians have been refugees in their own homes for years. All these long-term grievances, we haven't solved them in honesty. In all honesty, we've just left them to fester. We need to sort those out, and then I can almost say, most people can guarantee those who are extreme, they'll find no reasons to be extreme any longer.
What are the imams saying about these videos in the mosques?
Well, I talked about it in my sermon yesterday in the mosque in Friday, and I said it categorically that these idiots who are doing this, they're not doing it in the name of Islam. Iraq and its destabilization was not caused by Islam. Syrian war wasn't caused by Islam. Palestine and the occupation of Palestine wasn't caused by Islam. Somali crisis wasn't caused by Islam. It's been unfortunate terrorist extreme development, but also fueled by unethical foreign policies. So we're very categorical. It's nothing to do with Islam. And Islam has no room for terrorism or extremism. We need to be collective. We need to be robust and firm and say, not in our name and not in our religion.
You say it's not been caused by Islam, but clearly these young men think that Islam is part of the solution. They're very clearly tying their presence there to their religion, aren't they?
If you read an article written by a former extremist who is now working for the MI5 at the intelligence agencies, he said his own background and background of many of these young people indicate one thing, that they come from a very broken background. They come from criminality, abusive background. What we need to understand is they don't represent Islam. In fact, they don't even understand Islam, to be honest with you. Islam is a religion of peace and tolerance. It's about establishing justice across the globe. It's about global conscience to protect our environment and our world. These people don't represent any of that. So therefore, it's nothing to do with Islam. It's to do with their misunderstood, misguided, bigoted ideas of politics, and that's all.
You say it's nothing to do with Islam, but time and time again, whenever we see these videos, they are using Islamic slogans, they are using their religion. How do you feel about the fact that your religion has essentially been hijacked in this way?
I think we can equate the same with the BNP and EDL hijacking British flag. Does it desecrate the flag itself? Do we all abandon the flag and say it's been taken over and therefore it's the fault of the entire British people? No, it isn't. There are people who are hijacking Islam. I feel very upset about it. Most Muslims do. We cannot do anything about it. But what we can do is create responsible journalism. For example, your reporting and reporting by the media, we have to become objective in it. If we make an association with Islam, when people think about Islam, they think of terrorism. And this association, subliminal message, is causing a lot of trouble for Muslims. It's also angering lots of young Muslims, and it's also pushing them over. And I believe we need to become responsible. We need to disconnect and dissociate the religion from those extremists, and we need to reclaim the moderate, the middle ground of peaceful religion called Islam.
The difficulty for journalists is, of course, that it's the extremists who are linking themselves to religion. It's not the journalists adding those dots, is it?
No, I think journalists have to take their own responsibility. It's about time. We had a Saudi girl only murdered the other day in the streets of Colchester because she was wearing a headscarf and an abaya, an overgown. Who made the association? Who inspired that man who murdered her? Was it that our journalists who were writing and constantly associating Muslim and practicing Islam with terrorism and extremism that inspired that man to kill? We need to be responsible. We need to understand that all Muslims are not terrorists. And when we say Islam is terrorist, when we say Islam is extremist, we bring Islam to it. Leave Islam out of it completely. They're terrorists, they're extremists, they're criminals, and call them that. They have nothing to do with Islam. Islam is my religion, a religion of 1 billion people in the world, and we all believe in peace and justice for everybody across the globe, just like everybody else does.
OK, Imam Ajmal Masroor, we will leave it there. And we should say, of course, that the police in Colchester have not said that that lady's religion was a reason for her being attacked in Colchester. They do not know why she was stabbed.